Hi guys, welcome back to another Christmas special here at Inoxdine with me, Ben. Today we're going to be cooking a red onion marmalade or red onion chutney. This is a great one for those who are wanting to potentially give it as a gift to someone or making a Christmas hamper. It's also great for having at the end of a midnight feast, for example, for your cheeseboards or just even after your Christmas dinner. I've usually used this recipe for when I've done Christmas hampers in the past. So similar to the cook together ones, you'll get a recipe card in your packs with ingredients on there and your equipment list as well. So without further ado, we'll just get straight into it, and we're going to start with the prep of our onions. We're going to top it and tail it. This just makes it easier for when we come to peeling it now. So chop it in half again, and then simply just take off the skin. You can do that with all 3 onions. So once it's peeled, you've got no excess rubbish on your board, any hairs or anything. We're just going to finely slice this again, so making sure you've got no chunky bits in there. So use that claw and finally slice that onion. Take your time, there's no rush. It's not a race at the end of the day, so take your time as best you can not to chop your finger off. So once all your onions are chopped, scrape it straight into your bowl and just break any onions up, and then we're going to go on to the chopping of our garlic and our ginger. So all you need to do for the garlic is just crush the garlic with the flat part of the knife so you can peel it. So once you've crushed it, just peel that skin off. Pop it back into your bowl, same with the other piece of garlic, or if you've only got one piece because you've got a nice big chunky piece. If you've got 2 small pieces like I do, obviously do them both. So that's all you need to do for your garlic. For your ginger, you're just going to get your 5 grams of ginger, and all you're going to do is just going to scrape that skin off the side, or in my case I'm just chopping it off. You can do that with a spoon if you need, but because it's so small, it's just easier to do with a knife and go around it. Traditionally, if you're using a spoon, you just scrape like that. The excess skin off. So all we're going to do with that piece is we're just going to grate it on the fine end of the grater into a separate bowl. Obviously guys, we're making our mise en place here, which is just basically the basic prep before we start any of the cooking process. So we've got everything at the stage it needs to be at before we start confusing ourselves of what we have put in and what we haven't put in. So just a nice habit to get into for any cooking process you do at home. So all that ginger in there. So guys, I'm going to peel and squeeze the juice of 1 orange. So all you're going to do here is just peel it with your peeler, round, taking all that lovely flavouring off the orange. Once that's peeled, you're just going to pop all that orange peel with our cinnamon, bay leaf and star anise and cloves in there. So I'm just going to pop that all together. With the orange juice, you're just going to pop that into your balsamic vinegar. So just chop it in half. If you don't have a Mexican elbow at home like I do, you can use just squeezing it with your hand, or you can use a fork. I'm obviously just going to use this because it's easier and it's just a little bit cleaner. So juice into the balsamic. One, and then the other one as well. getting all our Christmas spices together now. Obviously orange, cloves, cinnamon, all that sort of stuff is what we tend to use during the Christmas period. So now we've got the juice of our orange and our balsamic together, and we've got all our spices and our orange together to create our bouquet garni, which is basically just like a spiced tea bag. So for this next bit, guys, you're going to get a yellow J cloth in your packs. You'll also need to grab yourself an elastic band. So for this next bit, elastic band, yellow J cloth, and just unfold it so you've got a nice big just sheet like that, so it almost resembles a tea bag, so you can see through it. All we're going to do is lay that out flat, and using the centre point, we're just going to pour all of our spices and our orange peel. So you've got your cinnamon stick, your orange, your bay leaves, and star anise, and your cloves. That's all going in there. And all we're going to do is bring every point together, grabbing it like that, just twisting it. You can tie it if it's not too thick, but I'm just going to use an elastic band. And that's just going to stop any of the bits coming out and making it difficult for us to fish them out later. So I'm just going to chop a bit of that off. That bit can just pop in the bin. So that's our bouquet garni ready to go in. So now you're at that stage, guys, and you've got all your mise en place ready to go. We're actually going to start the cooking process of our chutney now. So I'm just going to turn my pan on to a high heat. Nice generous drizzle of oil in there. I'm going to add the onions in. Slide all those onions. Then I'll stir up like we said. So cook that out until some of them onions start to go transparent. Just break the onions up as they're in the pan, like any that have not got chopped all the way through, just break them up. Might take like 5 or 10 minutes just to start caramelising some of them onions in there, so obviously releasing that natural Maillard reaction, which is the natural caramelisation process that food goes through once it's cooking. So when that starts to brown up, it's starting to release some of that natural sugars within the onion. Once our onions are actually starting to caramelise like they are in the pan now, we're ready to start adding some of the rest of our ingredients. So first off, we're going to add our garlic. Just chuck them in as cloves. See that stir around, start them cooking on. We're obviously going to pick those out later on when the cooking process is actually finished. Next, we're going to add our ginger. Cook that out for a couple of minutes. Next, we're going to add our sugar so that dissolves. We just incorporated it through the onions. At which stage we can finally add our orange juice and our balsamic. Turn that down to a gentle simmer and just leave it cooking until none of that liquid's left. So now that's at a gentle simmer, we're just going to throw in our bouquet garni. Just make sure it gets soaked up with any of that juice. Incorporating them flavours into there. So like I say, guys, all we're going to do now is leave that cooking for about 30 to 40 minutes, just until that liquid has come down to a syrup almost, and you almost get that jam consistency that you're looking for, that marmalade consistency, and then that's when we're pretty much ready to take it off the heat, leave it to cool down, and then we're ready to actually jar our chutney up. So guys, now that that's pretty much the jam consistency that we're looking for, all I'm going to do now is going to pour that out onto a tray. So, taking any of the bouquet garni out, don't need any of that anymore. Pour that out onto the tray. So our onion chutney pretty much ready. Just going to go through it, fish any of that garlic out. Piece there. More. Piece there. Now I've fished all that out, I'm just going to spread it out on the tray. I'm just going to pop that into the fridge or freezer for about half an hour, 40 minutes, just to see whether it comes down to a nice temperature where we can actually jar it up. So guys, once that's been in the fridge for about half an hour, 40 minutes, depending on how cool your fridge actually is, you can actually stick it in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how cold that is as well. Obviously, put it on a flat tray, it will cool down a lot faster. So mine's now nice and cool now. I've got my jar ready to fill up, so I'm just going to fill that up. Obviously, being quite careful here not to get it on the sides of the jar, because you'll have to then start trying to clear it up afterwards, which can be fun. Fill it right to the top. Obviously, if you've got a screw top, just screw it on. I have one that sits on the top because I'm working in a restaurant. Generally, you don't want people screwing things off, so I just pop the top on. And there you go, that's your caramelised red onion chutney, ready for Christmas presents or just for you to enjoy after your cheese and crackers as a midnight snack maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you can take some valuable lessons away from today's session, and I wish you a Merry Christmas. Thanks for tuning in, guys.